What does hip arthritis pain actually feel like? I'm going to give you 4 key symptoms to look for, and I've organized these for you in worsening hip arthritis severity order. But I'll explain to you what I mean about that as I go along through the video here. Number 1 is the location of pain on the hip. Hip arthritis is right on the front. That's where it tends to hurt, like right where your leg meets your body and where your leg folds on the front of your body. That's usually where hip arthritis pain will be, because hip joint pain, which is where hip arthritis happens, tends to be referred to the front of the hip, or that's where you feel it. Now, it's true there might be other causes for hip pain in that area. It could be something like bursitis or tendonitis, and the most common one is going to be hip labrum problems, which the labrum is a piece of cartilage inside the hip that can actually tear if you push your hip enough in the wrong way. But the joint itself, like with hip arthritis, will also hurt in that area. Now, if you have this symptom along with some of the other symptoms, then you can be more sure that it's going to be hip arthritis. Now, the second symptom is going to be pain on your feet. Now, the longer you're on your feet doing things like stuff around the house, maybe walking, doing chores, possibly exercising on your feet, going for walks, things like that. If you're on your feet for longer periods of time and you find that the pain begins to come on the front of the hip, then that's in line with hip arthritis. Could still be related to other symptoms, but it's very, very common when it comes to hip arthritis. Number 3 is pain during sleep and also at rest when you're awake. Now, this tends to happen with more severely irritated hip arthritis. But let me just make a distinction here. Just because it's very irritated and it hurts a lot, doesn't mean that the arthritis at the joint is very progressed, like it's towards end stage arthritis and that you need to have a hip surgery in order to treat this. All it means is that it's very irritated, but there's still possibly a good chance, very likely a good chance, that your hip joint can heal enough to where it's fine and it can be normal again. It doesn't mean that you're doomed and that you have to have a hip joint surgery like a hip replacement. But when you're having pain at night or when you're having pain at rest, like you're just sitting around and enjoying a meal, you're sitting around doing something on the computer, watching YouTube videos maybe, and then that's when it starts to hurt, that means that the lining on the ends of the bones, the cartilage lining inside the socket and on the ball, are very irritated, usually towards the front side of the hip. That's why it hurts in the front. And you need to do stuff to get it to calm down. There's certain treatments that you need to do to get that to calm down so that you can recover from it and get back to being on your feet as long as you want, not having pain at night, not having pain just sitting around watching a YouTube video. This can also happen with other things like hip bursitis and hip tendonitis and the labrum tear. However, if you've had this happening on a recurring basis over months, maybe even years, then it's much more likely that this is related to hip arthritis. And number 4 is hip joint locking. This happens when there's actual damage to the cartilage surfaces on the ball or inside the socket. And this is going to be a more progressed hip arthritis situation. This is closer to where you might need surgery. In some cases, when we see patients here in the clinic and they're telling us that they have consistent hip joint locking, like it's happening multiple times a day. And what I mean by locking is you're trying to move your leg a certain way and then it gets stuck in that position. Like oftentimes people get it when they're getting out of bed or getting in and out of a car or standing up from a chair after they've been sitting for a while. They feel like they can't move their hip a certain way. And then once they wiggle their leg around, then it frees up and it loosens and they can begin to use it normally. But when it's stuck, it tends to be very painful. And it's an annoying, disruptive pain that people get whenever they get that locking. Now, some cases can still heal naturally. They can go through treatment like what we put patients through so that they can get the surfaces offloaded inside the hip joints and allow the cartilage to heal. But in more severe cases of hip joint locking, like when it's happening more frequently and for longer periods of time when it does lock, then that might be a situation where a hip replacement surgery would actually be the best option for that individual. But if your hip joint is not locking at this time and you're having the other symptoms like pain in the front of the hip, you're having pain as you're on your feet more, and then you're also having pain at night and at rest, then it's likely that you have arthritis in your hip joint, but it's just not that progressed yet, and you can heal it naturally. Now, we offer a treatment approach. I've talked about it here at length on my YouTube channel. You can go down into the description and find a playlist that I have called Hip Arthritis Help Playlist. And that's got all of our hip arthritis related videos from YouTube here. And you can learn a ton about how to heal your hip arthritis naturally. I've also got a program called the Hip Arthritis Recovery Program. It's a comprehensive program that's structured, and it takes you through every single step necessary to solve a hip arthritis problem naturally at home so that you can avoid a hip replacement surgery. You'll find a link to this program also down in the description as well. Hey, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please consider sharing this with somebody else that's having hip problems that could benefit from watching this. And don't forget to hit the like button if you help. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you benefited from this video. And please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for our channel so that you get notified every time that we release a new video so you don't miss any of them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.